Season 0 has brought a ton of fun new changes to SUPERVIVE, including Bebo on top of some much needed Brall nerfs. So today we are going to talk about the 5 big winners and losers after the most recent patch. Let's get into it. Starting off with the losers, to no one's surprise, we have the one character that got nerfed, which is Brall. The main change was significant nerfs to how he gets empowered, which is a huge and big deal, guys. Like, I don't know how to really tell you guys other than the fact that when he is not empowered, he is not really going to be doing a whole lot. Now, he can eventually still get empowered and he'll still be realistically just as strong as before. But the thing is, getting that off of mobs, getting that off of dodging players and their shots is going to take a lot longer. Now, I still think Brall is going to be a pretty good character. We've still yet to scrim on him yet, but to be honest, for most players, if you're good at Brall before, you can still make it work. It's just going to take a little bit longer for you to just get in there and kill everyone, which I really like. Less uptime is probably a great nerf for this character, and just more time to kill Brall before he gets empowered and kills everyone. So, to be honest, I really like where these changes were placed, and I think it's pretty good for the game. But let's move on to number 2. The number 2 loser is going to be Felix, to a lot of people's surprise. The thing is, with Brall out of the meta, it's going to be pretty hard to find a role as Felix over any other player that's just going to make space, like an Oath or even a Celeste. That being said, I still think Oath is better, in my opinion, in better hands compared to a Felix. But if you're just starting out in the game, you're just playing with some new players, I still think Felix is going to be good. He's just definitely not going to have that role of being the one that deals with Brall like he may be used to if you chose to play him that way. That being said, I could see him being okay into Bebo, but after testing Bebo out a little bit, it doesn't really seem like Felix is going to be doing too well into him, just because if the Bebo knows what he's doing with his bat, with his bomb, he's going to be able to react to what you're doing on that character. So it's just going to take some time until we really see that matchup come into fruition. Now we're moving on to the third loser, which is Shrike. And this one, as well as the other 2 that are going to be following Shrike, aren't really losing outright. It's just that they're losing in the sense that they just haven't been receiving the love that they really need to in order to be winners on this patch. So starting off the sequence, we do have Shrike, like I said. While Brall is losing value, Shrike also kind of doesn't really get a whole lot of value out of this patch, and maybe even loses some of it because of the global shops. The global shops completely change the game in terms of how you want to play it every single time. And the thing is that she's not really that good at clearing camps by herself and being really efficient with her gold. Like other characters might even be a little bit better, like Ghost or a Myth, for example, which we'll talk about later, that are super strong in fights and are also really good at clearing camps pretty fast on their own. Those characters are just outclassing Shrike right now, and she doesn't really bring anything to the table that another DPS wouldn't just do better. Now, she is good at noob stomping, but once you get past that stage, which there isn't really a whole lot of noobs in the game right now, you're going to struggle with her pretty hard. So that segues us perfectly into our next loser, number 4, being Hudson. And Hudson he's in a pretty terrible spot right now, guys. I can't lie to you. He gets outplayed by nearly every ranged hunter in the game, and he also gets rolled by the heavy dive compositions that are pretty popular right now. So overall, even though he does deal with camps, I mean, decently well, he just isn't really doing that well and is losing pretty hard this patch. To be honest, he might even be the worst character in the game. I don't even think that's a hot take. I haven't really thought about a tier list for the game yet, but he very well might be the worst in the game. So that leaves us to loser number 5, being Elluna. And the thing is that she's not inherently terrible. It's just that everything about her is for the res. It's all about her passives. And it doesn't really matter until day 2 onwards, to be honest, because Resurgence is still in the game. So you really have to look at what she's going to do for the team outside of just rezzing with her passive, which would be her decent damage, but if I want to do that, I would just play Myth or Ghost. And her healing just also gets outplayed by Zeph. Oh yeah, on top of her damage as well. So realistically, Elluna is also a pretty big loser this patch, not because she is bad or is getting worse, simply just there's so many other options that are better, so she is considered just one that isn't winning this patch. So let's actually look at what winning looks like, with our first winner, in my opinion, being Jhin. Now, I know that Bebo got added, and he's pretty good at just being annoying for those melee hunters. The thing is, I think Jhin doesn't really struggle against the pushback that Bebo provides, because Bebo wants to hit you with a bat, he wants to hit you with this bomb and everything, but the reality is, Jhin can actually reset his cooldowns off of the Bebo bomb. So that's a really big deal, since that is the main damage of Bebo. Jhin doesn't really have a problem with that and can get a lot of value off of that. On top of that, Brall got nerfed, So that means Jin has a lot more room to be the melee pop-off character. Now, I really do expect Jin to be a pub stomping character for a lot of really good players in ranked right now, especially since people are starting to finally get better at him, but only time will tell. I do think at the end of the day, he is going to be a big winner. Now, moving on to number 2 of the winners, we have Ghost. With less Brall in the game, you just have more space to breathe on Ghost. Now, Jin might change that, but the thing is Ghost was already doing well in ranked in scrims before. And now, without all of this stuff in his face, he's just going to be an absolute demon and dominate, especially if people try to start playing Oath a little bit more without Brall being in the face of him. I mean, I think Ghost is going to be a pretty darn good pick. No matter what composition you have, he's always going to be an absolute demon and dominate ranked games. So that brings us on to number 3, which is Myth. And Myth is also just going to be a pretty insane character from the top with Ghost, because, I mean, she's already been nutty. She's already absolutely nutty last patch, even with all of the damage she was outputting on Brall, and now she doesn't have to deal with Brall as much. She can focus on dealing with the Oaths. She can focus on dealing with the Jins. Overall, I think she's probably realistically the best character in the game. She does so much, and she just has so much that I think that if you really need a new character to play right now, Myth is for sure the one that you want to be picking up. But now we got some interesting winners this patch, which I've been saying Celeste has been winning for a while. She's going to be on a number 4 spot because realistically, Celeste has so much counterplay to now the stuff that's realistically going to be played a lot. Specifically Bebo. A lot of new people are going to want to try Bebo. Celeste does really well against the Bebos. You can wall off the bombs. You can wall off the cart. There's so many ways that you can just shut that character down on top of playing well with him. So like Bebo cart with a Celeste wall, or Celeste ult rather, is absolutely insane. You can totally dominate teams with this, which I could maybe see a Bebo Celeste ult meta coming up in the future, but I doubt it's going to be that crazy. That being said, if someone is just going to lock Bebo for the next 2 weeks in your ranked games, it's not a bad choice to be playing some Celeste. So overall, I could see the comeback, but let's just see how this all goes, especially with Oath maybe being a little bit better after Brall, but we'll have to see. Celeste is still going to be a pretty solid option, and I'm not mad if people are going to start playing Celeste again. And that brings us to our last winner. We have Zeph. With Brall gone, it's easier just to exist and get stuff done with Zeph as the character, and overall, he might just be a must-pick status in any competitive composition right now, considering the fact that there's not just as much pressure on him. He realistically only has to deal with the Jin if people start running that more, and if not that, they're just going to be running Bebo with a Myth and Ghost. So realistically, Zeph's in a pretty darn good spot, and it's probably going to be the one that you want to be picking every single game. Now, I cannot let you guys all get away with this video without getting a sleeper pick out of the way, one that I'm not sure if it's a winner or a loser, but could be absolutely crazy, and that is Bishop. Since Brall is on his way out, I could see Bishop absolutely taking over as the new Wisp stomping character by punching Wisps into walls. Also, she's really good at dealing with Oath, which I suspect is going to get a little bit more popular in ranked, so that's an extra added bonus. And on top of that, it could make Jewel even crazier too if you want to try to run the Jewel with a duo. But at the end of the day, I think characters like Myth and Ghost are going to be a little bit too consistent for people to want to pick the Jewel. Just realize that could be a little bit of a sleeper duo, a sleeper composition pool that goes up in the meta as the patch really just, progresses. People get better at the characters and understanding how the patch goes. I could see Bishop being pretty darn good. So that's my read of this initial patch of the 5 big winners and losers following Bebo's release yesterday. Realistically, I just want to know what you guys all think. Do you like all the new changes? Do you like the new global shop, the new ping changes, the new hunter? There's so much that was just added to SUPERVIVE that is so fun to try out. Interested to hear what you guys all think about it. And in the coming days, we have some interesting content coming out covering all of that. So make sure you subscribe. Thank you guys all so much for watching. But until next time, I've got to peace out and Paz out. I'll see you in the next one.